It's probably no surprise to you, but I absolutely love Pinterest. I think it is just so relaxing and fun to scroll through the different images of interior shots, outfit ideas, even cooking inspiration. But in today's video, I wanted to take you guys through just a nice slow and relaxed deep dive through some of the interior shots I've been saving to my design inspiration board lately. So this video is going to be a little bit more personal in design items that I'm really loving right now, and I have seen subtle patterns mixed in throughout the different images I've been saving that I really wanted to highlight and just kind of display and walk you guys through in today's video. So these aren't necessarily trends or ideas that you have to follow, they're just small details that I personally find myself coming back to. So let's scroll through and I will show you what I mean. For some reason lately, I have been an absolute sucker for any sort of hand-painted detail. I keep seeing this, whether it's on painted furniture, a painted doorway. Honestly, I've even seen some fun DIYs with hand-painted lampshades as well. I feel like the reason that I'm so drawn to this right now is because it is deeply personalized and imperfect in just the best way. I just feel like hand-painted elements aren't something that you find on really generic furniture or items that you could buy from a big box store. These are really just hand added elements that tell a story and your personality within your space. It can really make your home feel more held, like somebody has actually personalized it and crafted it by hand. I just feel like these are details that you don't see very often, so when you do, they really stick out. And especially for me, I find that these images really pop out to me on Pinterest. They just don't have the same kind of generic feeling as lots of other interiors. My favorite application of this is on furniture pieces. I just feel like this is such a fun and unique way to upcycle or DIY a piece that you already own. Personally, I actually have two IKEA items in my bedroom. One is a taller wardrobe cabinet and the other is a dresser. They're very neutral and white, and I have been throwing around the idea of either adding some molding details to these pieces or hand painting my own details to them. I think it would be really easy to achieve by using either a stencil or freehanding it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a very intricate design or detail. I just feel like something small and personalized would really elevate this piece and just make it flow so much more through the rest of my home. Beyond furniture, I absolutely adore the idea of this on a small doorway or a door jamb. I feel like these are small, forgotten areas that when you actually add a pop of color or a pattern can really just stand out and make your space feel super special. And I feel like DIY lampshades have been having somewhat of a moment recently, so if you're not big on working with fabrics or sewing items, it might be a great option for a DIY detail you could be adding to your light sources. And I think my favorite part about this is you're already using what you already own and you're just adding a little bit of craft and skill to make it look that much more beautiful. In my most recent home update video, I shared with you that I have been absolutely obsessed with the idea of adding custom matting to any kind of framed art piece. This is something that has absolutely taken over my design inspiration board. I just feel like this is so fun to be adding color and pattern to the matting of your framed art pieces. When I did this in my own living room, I used some leftover fabric that I already had laying around, and I just simply taped it over the mat of my framed pieces. I pulled two different fabrics to coordinate with each of the prints I used in these frames, and I think they turned out really great next to each other. They're not necessarily matching, but they are coordinating nicely, and I think this is fun to pull into the rest of the space as well. And while mixing patterns can also feel a little bit daunting, I also love the idea of this concept, even if you are using just bolder pops of solid colors. I think this is a fun way to brighten up your room, introduce different shades, and really just bring together a cohesive gallery gallery wall that doesn't feel so flat and boring. And where I feel like I could have taken my own DIY just a little bit further would actually have been to use the fabric I used on the matting and taken that all the way around the frame. This feels like such a high-end and luxe way of finishing a framed picture, so I am kicking myself that I didn't do this in my own DIY, but honestly, I still have some extra fabric. I could just go back and complete this as well. I just feel like this is such a custom look that you really don't see in many other people's homes. So again, I just find myself stopping every time I see an image like this on Pinterest. It's just so fun and unique, and it's something that I personally am trying to implement even in my own space. And I think where this concept just pushes the envelope even further is incorporating it in a small little pet corner. I absolutely die every time I see an image of a pet zone that's very customized and tailored to the pet, but the idea of having a gallery wall next to your dog's watering dish is just so hilarious and cute. I feel like this would be such a great conversation starter for any guests in your home, and it really just adds that detail and that personalization that this is your space, and you know what? It's their space too. While my own space is not large enough to have an actual dedicated pet corner, I do plan on installing something very similar to this next to my pet's watering dish in my hallway. I just think this would be so fun when you're walking down the hallway and your eye just kind of glances it down at the corner of the baseboard. It's so cute, it's so darling, and I just can't deal with how sweet it is. Now, generally speaking, I am not one to necessarily follow trends or even promote trends here on my page, but something that I have been seeing a lot of lately is actually pastel tones when it comes to furniture or just really anything interior design. And this really could come down to a change in season. Generally in spring and summer, we often do see bolder pops of colors being introduced in interiors, but I have to say, I feel like this is coming up because neutrals have been such a base in design for so long now that many people are choosing to incorporate color in some way, shape, or form in their home. And personally, I am one of those people. I feel like for so many years I was so scared to add color and pattern into my space, but now I'm really just kind of throwing out the rule book. I've been mixing lots of different patterns, colors in my space, and textures. It's just so much more of a fun way of decorating your home. So I am just super excited every time I'm scrolling on Pinterest and I see a great use of color in this way. I just absolutely have to stop and save it to my design inspiration board. And obviously the generic ways of adding these shades into your home is going to be through furniture or other accents. I personally love the idea of using this on something more fixed in your space, like cabinetry. Even a door frame is great. I just feel like this is more of an unexpected use of that shade, and it really makes more of a high impact in your home than incorporating it on a very on-the-nose area is going to be. Another great application of this is going to be through tile and grout. Again, you don't typically see color being added in this way, so I do think it's a fun and bold, unexpected way of incorporating it in your home. And while I'm a fan of incorporating just about any color in your home, specifically pastels I absolutely love because I find lots of people lately have been infusing darker and moodier shades in their home, when in reality, I kind of have a feeling that pastel shades bring just a little bit more levity to your space. They're a little more joyful and fun, and they don't have as much seriousness as darker, moodier tones tend to bring. I also find they're a great option for people who have overcommitted to neutrals in their space. They're just not as harsh of a transition as other shades tend to be. It's generally just a smaller, lighter step into the realm of color, and it's easier to kind of mix and incorporate these shades throughout your space as well. Over here on my channel, we are big fans of drapery and textiles. I just really love a home that feels very layered and full of fabric. To me, this just adds a level of depth and taste to the space. And I will say what I'm absolutely loving lately is using drapery and textiles on areas that are not actually window applications. I find it incredibly chic to be adding a drape to any kind of doorway in your space. I just feel like this is so warm and welcoming, especially when it's your front door. It's the first thing you see when you walk in. And if you live somewhere that has any kind of a draft that comes through any of these doorways or windows, I just feel like when you're all snuggled up and cozy inside and you close the drape even on your door, this is really just adding to the warmth and comfort that you feel when you're in the room. And the same thing goes for closets or entryways. It's always great to have the option to kind of divide the room with a curtain or close any kind of storage area with a curtain instead of a doorway. It's a great application to be adding a color or pattern to, and it's actually going to be making the space feel softer and more comforting as opposed to just a regular standard door. And I am an absolute sucker when it comes to a ruffle. I also love the idea of drapes that pool on the floor, especially in this instance. It's really just going to up the drama in the space, and I would actually opt for a color that's a little bit more of a contrast or a bold pattern because this is a very unexpected way of using a drape in the room. So again, this is exactly the kind of image I will immediately stop my scrolling for and save to my design inspo board. I'm not really sure in what application I would use this in my own space, but I do desperately want to include it somewhere. Those of you with white walls and neutral homes are probably going to love this last detail. Personally, this is something I have been trying to achieve in my own space, but it's the idea of having just a very blank slate when it comes to your wall color, and then adding subtle layers of color and pattern throughout the rest of your accents. The reason that I find myself so drawn to this is because I feel like this is such a subtle way of easing into adding more character and personality into your space. For so many people, I feel like it is so polarizing when you start thinking of adding color and pattern to your walls in some capacity. However, if you just take it very small and you swap out minor details with color and pattern, this really can come together in such a beautiful and unexpected way. To me, this just feels like the best bridge between minimalism and maximalism. And if you ever feel like you've gone too far in one direction, you just swap out a piece either back to a neutral or into a pattern. It's the best balance because you get that crispness from the neutral base, but you're still getting that great pop of character and personality through the other aspects you're mixing in. And I feel like this look is very achievable if you are somebody who already has a mostly white home, but you want it to feel just a little bit braver. You can select one item, be it your artwork or maybe your lighting, and you just kind of focus and hone in on swapping out these elements to a piece that has just a little bit more life to it. It's not necessarily about perfection, it's about boldness in very small doses, which collectively can make your home feel so much more curated and custom than before. And I think the reason that I find myself so drawn to this look is because I am somebody who absolutely loves the idea of just a very classic neutral space. However, I do love color and pattern, and this is something that I desperately want in my home. I just don't want it to overtake my entire space. So personally, this is the way that I've chosen to decorate my own space, just keeping my walls very neutral, but then every small detail I've been adding back into my space, I've been trying to be conscious about including some sort of a pattern or color. And slowly but surely, I feel like I've been building this great kind of layered and curated look in my own space. And this is also a great design idea if you are somebody who's renting a very neutral space. It really means that you don't actually have to touch any of the walls when it comes to adding extra paint or wallpaper. You really can be investing in the actual pieces that you're going to carry from this place to the next. And it's so much more achievable than trying to find a rental that already includes color and pattern in a sophisticated way. So if this is a look you're interested in achieving, maybe put down the contact paper or peel and stick wallpaper and just start focusing on the actual furniture pieces and accessories that you're bringing into your home instead. I think the interesting thing when I look collectively at all of these details on my inspiration board is the idea that they all feel deeply personal and almost handmade. It really gives the impression that the space actually means something to the person living there. And I feel like this is something that I am constantly trying to achieve in my own space and also share with you guys online as well. Personally, I am really craving homes that actually have a story to tell. I just feel like I am over the idea of a highly staged and stiff space. I absolutely love the concept of a home that reflects the people that live there, and I feel like all of these details do just that. So I'd love to know which of these you would actually try incorporating in your own home, or if you're seeing anything similar on your own Pinterest feeds. Thanks for spending a little bit of time here with me today. If you're feeling cozy or inspired after this video, you know what to do, and I will see you in my next one.